Look behind me. There's no more bike. And that's because I recently sold my Canyon Speedmax for $7,000 on Facebook Marketplace in less than 24 hours. I want to walk you through exactly how that happened, because I know that for most people, selling a high-end bike online can be really frustrating. It's time-consuming, and honestly, it's a little unpredictable. So in this video, I'm going to break down the full strategy that I used, from how I prepared the bike to how I built the listing, how I handled lowball offers, and ultimately, how I positioned everything so that the right buyer showed up quickly and paid full asking price. Before we get into it, if you enjoy content around triathlon gear, real experiences from training and racing, make sure to subscribe here on YouTube. And feel free to follow me on Instagram at Greg's Tri Journey, because it genuinely helps the channel grow and allows me to keep putting out videos just like this for you. I've also created a few free downloadable resources that go perfectly with this video. That includes a bike sale checklist, my 10 tips to sell your bike fast guide, and a bike sale agreement template that are all available for free on my website, gregstrijourney.com. I've also thrown the link in the description below. So with that, welcome back to another Greg's Tri Journey video, and let's get into exactly how all of this came together. Before we talk about how all this worked out, I think it's also really important to acknowledge why selling a high-end bike online can also be so difficult in the first place. I mean, you're dealing with a market where not every buyer fully understands the true value of components, where lowball offers are extremely common, and where a lot of listings, in my opinion, simply don't do the bike justice in terms of presentation. And what I've realized through this process is that most of the time, it's not actually about the bike itself. It's about how the bike's going to be positioned, how it's going to be presented, and how much confidence you're going to create for the buyer before they even reach out to you. Once I've understood all of that, everything else became a lot more intentional, starting with how I prepare the bike before it even ever hits Marketplace. The first thing I did was make sure that the bike is completely dialed in, even before thinking about listing it. I'm talking like a full clean across the entire bike, right? Making sure the drivetrain is spotless, the frame looks impeccable, and the wheels are cleaned. Everything has to be presentable, because whether we like it or not, you've probably heard the saying, first impressions matter. And in a transaction like this, they matter more than anything. So when a potential buyer is going to show up or even just looks at the photos, a clean bike is immediately going to signal to them that all has been well taken care of. And that alone is going to build a level of trust before you even had a conversation. That type of attention to detail is naturally going to lead to this next step, which I think is where most listings fall short. Once your bike is fully prepped, focus heavily on getting strong, detailed photos that showcase the bike in the best way possible. Make sure to capture the entire bike profile, right? Then the drive side, close-ups of the drivetrain, the cockpit, the wheels, right? Because serious buyers are not just browsing, they're actually evaluating. They want to see the condition, the components, the details without having to ask for additional photos. And I think most listings lose people right here because the photos simply don't reflect the true quality of the bike. So one small but really important tip I'll also recommend here is always take photos in landscape mode if you're using your phone, because they're going to display that much better within the listing and gives much more of a professional feel overall. Once you get those visuals locked in, the next step is building a listing that actually is going to communicate the value as clearly as possible to the buyer. This is where you really separate yourself from the majority of the listings that are out there. Instead of something vague, like in my case, Canyon Triathlon bike for sale, I made sure that the title of my listing is as accurate and as specific as possible using the full model name. So in my case, Canyon Speedmax CFA Disc Di2, which aligns with how the manufacturer actually presents the bike. Then right at the top of the description, I lead with key specs, right? Highlighting components, in my case, like Shimano Di2, the 4i power meter, the DT Swiss Arc 1400 carbon wheels, because those are the details that immediately signal value to a serious buyer. And then from there, I'll layer in additional information to eliminate as much uncertainty as possible, including a geometry chart that is sourced directly from the manufacturer. I added a YouTube video that I had made about the bike and a clear, honest reason as to why I was selling it. I know this may seem like a little bit of overkill, but the goal here is really simple, which is to answer as many questions as possible before they're even asked. And in doing so, you're going to build trust and confidence from the very first interaction. So once that foundation is set, it's going to put you in a much stronger position when it comes to actually pricing your bike and then negotiating for it. Let's talk about numbers and how I approach this part of the entire process. When I originally purchased the bike, it retailed for close to $8,000 Canadian before tax and duties. And then after owning it for about 5 years and taking really great care of it, I listed it at $7,000 based on its condition, the components, and the current market value. So not long after I posted it, I recall that I even received a message from someone saying they would not pay more than $5,000, which is a situation that most people will run into and where I think many sellers are going to make the mistake of starting to negotiate against themselves. So instead of reacting emotionally or immediately starting to lower my price too quickly, I stayed calm, right? I reinforced the value of the bike and held my position, because when you know you have what you have and you've presented it properly, the right buyer is going to recognize that. And sure enough, within 24 hours, the bike sells for full asking price at $7,000. So throughout this process, I've made a conscious effort to also be as responsive and transparent as well as helpful in answering questions about, the fit, the specs, and anything else that comes up, while also filtering for serious buyers by encouraging to come and actually see the bike in person. So when someone asks, classic, is this still available? A response as simple as, yes, it is. When would you like to come and see it? Is quickly going to separate the real buyers from those who are, just casually browsing. And once you have a serious buyer lined up, I think the final step in this entire process is making sure that the transaction itself is handled properly. This part of the process, a lot of people overlook, but I'm going to say that it's incredibly important, especially when you're dealing with a high value item. So to protect both myself and the buyer, or in this case, yourself and the buyer, I use a simple bicycle sale agreement, which clearly outlines the bike, the price, the payment method, confirmed that this sale was final. So in addition to that, I made sure to verify the buyer's identity, confirm the payment method before actually handing over the bike, whether that's cash or a certified check. And then I keep record of the transaction for my own records and give them a copy too. If you by chance want a full step-by-step breakdown of how this process works, I've included everything in my bike sale checklist and agreement template that are both available for free on my website, so you can go through the entire process with complete confidence. At the end of the day, in my case, the buyer came to my house, inspected the bike, everything checked out as expected because there was no surprises, and we completed that sale smoothly. Less than 24 hours, full asking price, and a clean professional transaction is exactly what you want in this case. If you take anything away from this video, it really comes down to a few key principles. Presentation matters more than you think because it shapes the buyer's first impression. Confidence matters, especially when it comes to pricing and negotiating. Transparency is going to build trust, and trust is ultimately what is going to drive someone to commit to a purchase. And last but not least, professionalism is what closes the deal and ensures that everything is going to go smoothly from start to finish. So if you want all of this clearly laid out, make sure to download my 10 tips to sell your bike fast guide on my website, gregstrijourney.com, as it'll walk you through everything step by step. If you found this video helpful, please make sure to like and subscribe, as it really does help support the channel. And also, don't forget, feel free to follow me on Instagram at gregstrijourney. If you have a question or feel like I might have missed something, or you're currently trying to actually sell your bike, drop it in the comments below or send me a DM on Instagram. I genuinely enjoy responding and doing the best that I can to help out. Don't forget to visit gregstrijourney.com to download all my free resources, including the checklist, the agreement template, and the full guide to selling your bike. Thanks so much for watching, and remember to always keep having fun while you swim, bike, and run, and I will see you in the next video.